Hey, happy Wednesday. Wednesday it is. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late here. I was trying to get some things set up with technology. So I had a lot of questions in the comments today, and I'm going to try to address them. I'm going to walk through the TSA experience from start to finish. There were some really specific questions that I'll try to cover. If you have anything else as I'm talking, just feel free to drop them in here. Hey everyone. And I will either get them in the comments afterwards, or I will try to address them if I see them, because it's kind of hard to see what's going. So first of all, the experience I'm talking today is the TSA line in the United States. So this is for travel within the United States and what you can expect. So in general, you're going to go to the airport, you're going to check in. And once you check your bags, get your plane tickets, you're going to be walking over to the TSA line where you will be going through the security process to get to the plane. Now, this is the thing that causes the most stress, I think, in a lot of parents with flying, especially if you're flying with babies and toddlers. You have all the gear, if you're flying with breast milk, baby food, all that stuff that can cause kind of, questions and issues with security. So this is what I do. So you will check in, you're going to go to the TSA line. You are going to have your ID out, and you're going to have your plane ticket, because the first kind of step that you'll have is you will be showing them who you are, proving who you are with your plane ticket to get through that experience. Your kids do not need ID if you're flying within the United States. If you're flying internationally, this is different. Obviously, everyone's going to have a passport, but here within the United States, if you are flying with a child, they don't need any sort of ID to actually fly right within the United States, which is nice. So you'll get that first kind of step. Once they check your ID and they check your ticket and you're moving on to the security belt area, you're going to want to put away your ID and your plane ticket. This is where I've struggled before, where, it's a stress of giving everything out, and I put the ticket somewhere and then I can't find it when I go to board the plane. So avoid that. As soon as you get it checked, put it away into your bag and just have it ready to go. When you get down to the security area where you actually need to be taking everything out, this is where pre-planning is really important. So what I do is I think about everything that I have, everything that's with me and carry-on is really intentional. I've been very intentional about what I check versus what I carry on. And what I will do is I will have, if I have the baby, baby will be baby wearing in a carrier on me. And then I'll have the diaper bag, the carry-on bag, and I'll have my stroller, which carries my car seat. You're going to be putting all of your stuff, you're going to have all your stuff, and that's going to need to go into the security bins. This is where, you need to think about what you're bringing, because everything you have in your hands needs to get onto that security belt to get through the screening and then in. So once you walk through the medical detector or the screening machine, whatever your airport has, you're going to get your stuff back. Hopefully everything will make it through, and then you will go onto your plane and onto your boarding. So now let's talk about the logistics of managing that process. So first of all, my biggest tip, if you are doing airplane flying with children, is to arrive early to the airport. Do not be that person that you were before kids, running to the plane at the last minute, trying to, just get through. When you have kids, you got stuff. Always give yourself extra time. I get to the airport at least 2 hours early for domestic, at least 3 hours early for international. And even sometimes that leaves us with almost no time at the other end, because sometimes security and check-in takes forever. So if you want to reduce stress, make the whole experience better, just get there as early as possible. I would rather be sitting in the airport for 20, 30 extra minutes at the end getting ready to board than stressed out in security because it's just taking too long and you're going to miss your flight. All right, so easiest way, just a tip, if you're thinking about travel, I have pre-check, which it's $85, I think. I actually have global entry, but global entry right now, if you're looking for quick, you can't get appointments to actually get your global entry approval. So if you're flying internationally and you want to do global entry, send me a message, because there is a way to do it a kind of roundabout way. But in general, there's no global entry appointments right now. So go for pre-check if you can. It'll work for 5 years. If you as the adult get it, all your minors will get it. So when I fly, all 3 of my kids have TSA pre-check with me, and it's going to reduce some of these things that I'm going to tell you about that you're going to have to do if you don't have pre-check. So I'm going to be talking as if you don't have pre-check right now. So when you get up to the security screening belt, you are going to need to pull out all of the stuff. So if you have an iPad in your bag, if you have a computer in your bag, if you have baby food pouches, if you have breast milk, if you have formula, if you have baby water bottles, all that like liquid stuff, you're gonna have to pull out. The easiest thing to do to master the TSA line and be like the most prepared is put all that stuff in plastic bags. I carry my baby snacks and baby food pouches and all of that in like a gallon size plastic bag so that I know exactly where it is in the bag. I can pull it out, put it on the belt, and it goes through. Same thing with iPads, know where they are, pack them like an easy, pull out place, computers, have them all ready to go. And like I said, baby wear, because they are not supposed to tell you that you have to take your baby out. I have heard from a couple of parents who have TSA agents have told them they need to take their baby out, but you can baby wear your baby through, and you'll go through the medical detector versus like the big, like, I don't know, what is it, bone scanner or whatever that thing is. So when you have kids, you go through there. So once you get your stuff onto the belt, you're going to need to get your stroller and your car seat onto the belt too, right? So this is where I talk about why a one-handed fold stroller is amazing for travel. When you're thinking about lugging bags and kids and stuff, thinking about trying to get two hands to actually fold down a stroller can be a bit tricky. It can be done, but I prefer a one-handed fold. So I can be holding something with one hand, holding a baby's hand, holding the toddler's hand. I can use one hand to just pull up on my stroller and put it onto the belt. Most strollers do fit onto the belt. The easiest way is like the big wheels first and right in. You can ask the TSA agent because sometimes they prefer that you don't put it on, and they'll do like a manual check so you can see what your specific agent will want. And same thing with car seats. And a tip with car seats, they typically fit if you put them like upside down, in like, rested, like if the baby's sitting here, put them down on the belt like that. So that's typically the easiest way to get the car seat through. I will say, in general, it's important to know your rights about TSA, about like with baby food, especially with breast milk. Breast milk is a whole nother area that I can talk about a different day. I don't want to go into that here because it deserves its own topic. But it's important to know like there's regulations. So if you go to TSA, you can look up their traveling with children policies to know it ahead of time, because not all agents follow the same rules. And sometimes they'll tell you to do something that's not actually policy. And you can say, you have a right to say, no, like your policy says this, even having, pulling it up. Some of them are going to be more helpful than others, but it's really good to know your rights so that you can stand up for yourself. Another area that it's good to know with traveling with kids and TSA agents is with regards to like breast milk, formula, baby food. So typically you can't travel with liquids more than 3.4 ounces through the TSA screening point, but when you have babies and toddlers, you can actually bring like applesauces and baby pouches and formula and breast milk and even water. I can bring my kids water bottles through when you have babies and toddlers. But again, you need to know what their policies are so that you can be like, nope, listen, this is what you do. Note that if you do bring bottles of water through for the babies and kids, they will sometimes ask you to do a vapor test. This has happened to me once of flying many, many times. Some people it happens to often. It's just kind of you never know what you're going to get. Some airports are more strict than others. There's really no rhyme or reason of consistency between places in the United States. So what they'll do is they'll have you open up your, sippy cup or water bottle, and they'll just hold like a little strip above it. And they will test to make sure that there's no explosive materials in it. So they're not putting anything in your water. They're not putting anything in your formula. They shouldn't be putting anything in your breast milk. And again, you can say no, especially with breast milk. You can say no. You don't have to let them open. But again, we can talk about that a different day. If you do have questions, I have a whole highlight and guide about traveling with breast milk. And also I've been working with Sarah Wells bags, and we've created a website resource with all sorts of information. So I'll link that in my stories later so you can check it out. But that is kind of like the big thing. Oh, another thing that you need to take your shoes off if you don't have pre-check. So if you are traveling with kids, I recommend that you wear something easy to slip on and slip off, because you don't want to be trying to, untie your shoe, retie your shoes. So that's like my major love of pre-check. I don't have to take my shoes off, but the times where I've had to not fly with pre-check, I typically try to do, I don't love flying in sandals because I don't like being barefoot on the floor as I walk through. So I'll try to do like a slide shoe. So like a little sock and a slide shoe so that you can get that on and off without actually having to use your hands. So that's helpful. Kids do not have to take off their shoes, which is good. When you're going through the belt, you also need to know things need to be out of your pocket. So make sure the kids don't have any little toys in their pockets. Don't have your jacket on, like that kind of thing. And I think that's kind of it for the overview. So just to wrap it up for tips, so definitely arrive early to the airport if you're traveling with kids. Baby wear if you have a baby. Even if you're bringing your stroller, use your stroller to hold your bags. That's the best thing. Till you get through security, if your baby's in the baby carrier, I keep them on the whole time. I use my stroller as like a luggage mule basically. And then you can gate check it for free on all US airlines. International is different, but again, this is domestic in the United States. You can gate check a stroller, you can gate check a car seat if you're not bringing it onto the plane. Remember to pre-package your liquids and your snacks to pull out easily. Know where your iPads and computers are to pull them out easily. And also, just a general question to add in here is that people had questions about snacks, and you can fly with food. So beyond just like baby toddler pouches and stuff that go with liquid, even if you're not flying with a baby or a toddler, you can bring food that's like dry food, not liquid food, not gels and that kind of thing, if you don't have a baby. But you can bring, you know, I've flown with cookies, I've flown with bread, I've flown with fruit and snacks and all sorts of stuff. So many people don't know that you can actually bring your own food, but you can. So don't forget the snacks. I hope that was helpful. If you have comments, I have been seeing a bunch of stuff coming up on the thing, so it's hard to see the comments coming through. But again, feel free to reach out to me. If you're not already following me, follow me for baby toddler travel tips, and let me know what else you want to learn. So thanks for being here, and have a great day.